Jai Shri Radhe Shri Vallabhadisha Ki Jai. The story of Padmanabh Das Ji, Part 5. It's the 12th day of the readings. There was a Kshatriya lady who came daily to Padmanabh Das's home. One day Tulsan asked her why she came so frequently. She replied that she regarded Padmanabh Das as a great soul and a qualified Vaishnava, and her problem she was hoping to solve was that she could not conceive. She asked Tulsan to convey her plea to her father. When she told him about this matter, he asked his daughter to bring some water. In heartfelt meditation, he washed his Sri Acharyaji's feet with it, touched it to his own feet, and then gave it to that Kshatrani, saying, "Now go, you will certainly have a son. Call him Mathura Das." And that is exactly what happened. Bhav Prakash, the inner meaning. Why did Padmanabh Das give her water that had touched his own feet? After all, a Vaishnava never sings their own praises. Normally a Vaishnava would give Sri Thakurji's foot water, but Padmanabh Das reasoned that she had come to him with a specific desire for a son, and really and truly he should not use Sri Thakurji's prasadi water for such a purpose. Why would he bother Sri Thakurji in this way? So he gave his own. However, he was always lost in contemplation on Sri Acharyaji, and he gave it with this mindset. He had no expectation of praise. However, it is true to say that if someone takes shelter in an accomplished Vaishnava, then their wishes come true. To grant a son is no big deal. That is what she wanted, and this act did not become an obstacle in his devotion, because he did not egotistically consider himself to have done it. The motivation for the appropriate action came into his head, and he did it as, knowing it to be the Lord's wish, not his own doing. Sri Gosaiji has written, Buddhi praraka Krishnasya pada padmam prasidatu. May my every action be pleasing to the Lord Sri Krishna's lotus feet, for he is the inspiration for all my actions. Buddhi praraka Krishnasya pada padmam prasidatu. Anyone who thinks otherwise is floundering in the ocean of worldly existence. Padmanabh Das's pure feeling was that it was all the wish of his beloved Lord. Part 6. One day Ram Das, another disciple of Sri Mahaprabhuji, left his Sri Thakurji with Padmanabh Das while he went to Jetipura to have the sight of Srinathji. Sri Acharyaji engaged him in the inner service of Srinathji. Padmanabh Das served his Sri Thakurji while he was away. Some time afterwards, some Muslims invaded the town and stole Ram Das's Sri Thakurji. Padmanabh Das went to the Mughal leader's home and sat outside without eating or drinking. The leader's wife noticed this and told her husband that a Brahmin was fasting there, and that if he died, the murder would be upon his hands. She told him to give him back his lord. The Mughal returned Ram Das's Sri Thakurji to Padmanabh Das. He took him home, bathed, and then bathed him in the 5 nectars. Panchamrit Snan. He dressed and adorned him, cooked and offered him some nice foodstuffs. When the Lord finished partaking of the offerings, he fed the prasad to some Vaishnavas. Only then did he eat. Ram Das became aware of these happenings, and for 7 days he also did not eat, although he was able to nicely fulfill his seva to Srinathji. Padmanabh Das came to intuitively know that Ram Das had suffered because of these events. He decided to go to Jetipura and have the sight of Srinathji, and also to meet Ram Das. First he went to Srinathji, and then he met Ram Das. Padmanabh Das said to him, "Through all of this it was only fair that I should have suffered some disturbance, but you had left your Sri Thakurji with me, so why did you need to fast for 7 days too?" Ram Das replied, "True that may be, but I have been serving my Sri Thakurji for many years, and it's only right that I feel that much connection." Padmanabh Das stayed for some days before returning to Kanauj. Bhav Prakash. If a Vaishnava's Sri Thakurji comes to your home, you should serve them as if they were your own. Ram Das did not have any anxiety about leaving his Sri Thakurji with a Vaishnava in this way, but he still felt grief at Sri Thakurji's disturbed situation when he was abducted. He also felt joy when the Lord was comfortable and happy. Part 7. One day Padmanabh Das decided to travel to Adel to see his guru, together with his whole family and his Sri Thakurji. He wanted to see his guru and listen to the nectar of his discourses. They all came there and spent some time, but they were financially compromised, and so for the offerings to their Sri Thakurji they soaked chickpeas, and the next day offered them with the sentiment that they were all different types of varied, tasty preparations like rice, sweet rice cooked in milk, and all kinds of vegetable dishes. Sri Thakurji accepted all the preparations in the mood in which they were offered, and this was their daily ritual. One day a Vaishnava noticed this and told Sri Acharyaji about it. He came to Padmanabh Das's place of Seva at the time of the offerings and asked why the chickpeas were arranged in separate little piles. Padmanabh Das explained what kind of preparation each of the piles was. Sri Acharyaji then understood that Padmanabh Das did not have enough money, but that even then he focused on the seva and was not on the acquisition of wealth, showing his immense patience. Sri Thakurji was very pleased with Padmanabh Das. Sri Acharyaji went home, and whilst he was taking prasad, he told his wife about the situation. Later on, she cooked many preparations and sent them with the Vaishnava to Padmanabh Das for offering to his Sri Thakurji. When Tulsan told her father that such a packet had arrived, he told her to put it aside and remarked that this was a call for them to leave that place. She put the package aside. The very same thing happened the next day, and so Padmanabh Dasji told her again to put the package aside and announced that they would be leaving the next morning. That morning he quickly finished his seva and made the food offerings. He said to his Sri Thakurji, "If you would like to stay here with Sri Acharyaji, then you will be able to enjoy many types of preparations. If you come with me, I will only be able to offer you whatever is available to me at that time." Sri Mathuranathji spoke to him and told him that he liked his ways and would accept whatever he was able to offer. Padmanabh Das finished the seva and hired a boat. He told Tulsan to return back all the food that Sri Akkaji had sent to them. He packed all their belongings and Sri Mathuranathji in the boat, and then went to Sri Acharyaji to take leave of him. Sri Acharyaji asked him where his Sri Thakurji was. Padmanabh Das told him that Sri Thakurji was already sitting in the boat. Sri Acharyaji sent them off, and whilst returning home he pondered as to why he had left in such a hurry. Sri Akkaji then told him that she had sent foodstuffs to them on both days, but that they had returned them. Sri Acharyaji realized that this was why they had left. Padmanabh Das reached home and carried on serving his Lord. Bhav Prakash. This story shows that the Guru's wealth holds even more importance than Sri Thakurji's wealth. It is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th Canto, chapter 17, verse 28, that even if one earns through begging, that money should be offered to the Guru, and one should only eat when the Guru says it is okay, otherwise one should remain hungry. If that be the case, how here would Padmanabh Das ever accept wealth from the Guru? Sri Acharyaji has, for this very reason, written in his Vivekadharya Ashraya treatise, Wisdom, Perseverance and Refuge, that tolerance of the three types of suffering constitutes patience. Padmanabh Das could have taken revenge on the Muslims who took Ram Das's Thakurji away, but he was patient and instead fasted for 7 days and said nothing. In this way he tolerated grief related to the Lord. He married his daughter to a boy of different caste, and in this way he had to suffer worldly condemnation. He had to suffer the difficulties of not having enough to eat, but he never announced his dharma, his chosen path of grace. That is why Sri Gokulnathji wrote in his commentary on Sri Vittalnathji's Sarvotam Stotra that Padmanabh Das was a 1 in a million Vaishnava who had truly understood and lived according to Sri Acharyaji's teachings. Sri Acharyaji was always pleased with Padmanabh Das. Thus concludes Varta 4, the story of Padmanabh Dasji, although there is really no end to the tale. Thus concludes day 12 of the readings. Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Shri Vallabhadisha ki jai. Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Sabko Jai Shri Krishna. Radhe.